If your water stopped running today, how long would you last? Because most people focus on the food first, but the truth is, water is survival. So, today we're going to talk about realistic, practical ways to secure water in times of emergency or crisis, including sources people often overlook. Welcome to the Modest Prepper, where we prep with intention and not fear. So, in this video, we'll cover how much water you actually need, how to store it in your home, the hidden water sources in your homes, the outdoor water sources, and safe purification methods. So, let's start with the numbers. How much water do you need? Now, a common preparedness guideline is 1 gallon of water per person per day. So for 90 days, that equals 90 gallons per person. But that's the standard, but that usually covers drinking and basic cooking. But realistically, you'll also need water for hygiene, light cleaning, and hand washing. So 90 gallons is like a minimum baseline, not a luxury amount, because we don't realize that water disappears faster than people expect. So even though 90 gallons is the baseline, you want to strive for as much as possible. But you have people that may say, I don't have that much room. I can't store that much water in my home. I live in an apartment, or I have a small home, or I just don't have the space for all that water. We do have options. So option number one, of course, you can store the water in your home, and that's the safest option, is stored potable water. You can store water in food grade 5-gallon containers. You can store it in water bricks. You can store it in 55-gallon water barrels, stackable water jugs, and keep them in a cool, dark place. Rotate them every 6 to 12 months. Just don't sit them in the basement or sit them in your garage and leave them. You want to label it with a fill date so you know when it was filled. And this should always be your first line of defense. But what other options do you have? So option 2 for water, your hot water tank. Many people don't realize our homes already store water. Doesn't matter if you're in an apartment, doesn't matter if you're in an RV, in a home, it actually does store water in your hot water tank. Because the average hot water heater holds about 40 gallons, and this is a major backup source. Now, an important thing to know about this is electricity or gas should be turned off before trying to access it, so you don't want to hurt yourself or your family. You want to look up safe draining methods beforehand. If you want to look it up now while we still have internet, while we're not having any issues with electricity or in an emergency, print it out and just keep it to the side in case you may need it. And only use water if it hasn't been contaminated. This should be considered your emergency reserve water. So just because you don't have any water, your hot water tank shouldn't be your first go-to. It should kind of be like your last resort. Now, option 3, your rain catchment system. Rain is pretty much free water from the sky. You can collect rainwater. You can use rain barrels under your gutters. You can use larger catchment systems or temporary tarp systems. The rainwater that we do collect, it should be filtered or purified before drinking it. But as a backup source, it's extremely valuable. Even a simple system can provide dozens of gallons of water during heavy rain, so don't overlook that option. Option number 4, natural water sources. If the public water system fails, we may have streams. Check and see if there are any streams nearby our homes, any ponds or lakes. That should be something we're looking at the maps and just driving around our neighborhood and seeing other options for water that we have around. And these sources can provide water, but they must be treated before drinking it. We should never assume natural water is safe without purification because we don't want to get sick. Another option, when we're thinking about all these ways to gather the water, we want to make sure that it's purified. I've been speaking about purifying the water. So if the water is not clean, we do have options. The first option that we have to purify the water is water filters. These are reliable and it's ideal for emergency use. When you go to the stores and when people are preparing for a snowstorm or they think something is happening, what do people get? They grab the toilet paper and they grab the water. And they will grab up all the bottled water. But have you noticed that you'll see the water filter sitting right there on the shelf, which is just as great as having the actual bottled water, and it doesn't take up as much space. So these are reliable and ideal. You want to try to get gravity-fed filters, pump filters, or even straw filters, something that you can reuse over and over again. Another option that you can use to purify or filter your water is the bleach treatment method. This should not be your go-to. And I say this because this is like a last-ditch effort. And I say that because it can be very dangerous if you are not paying attention or you don't know how much water you should actually use. If you don't know and you haven't tried it or you're not experienced in it, stay away from it. But if you do use a bleach treatment, you should use only 16 drops of regular unscented household bleach per gallon of water. The bleach, this is so important, the bleach must be plain, unscented, and the water should sit for at least about 30 minutes. And just as a guideline, you want to make sure you verify official safety guidelines before use. Just don't take my word for it. Look it up online and look up the bleach to water ratio to make sure that you're doing it properly before you drink the water. This is like a last resort purification method, not long-term treatment. Now, another option to have water as we continue, option number 5, is free natural springs. A lot of people don't know there are natural spring water sources across the country. I didn't even know until someone told me. And you can actually search for nearby springs using the site findaspring.org. And there are many people that collect spring water regularly for storage. But you always want to research the water quality, how easy it is to access, and the safety of it. Which those are some of the things you can look up on findaspring.org. I believe when you look it up, I'll put it on the screen where it shows you where the location is of the spring, the activity that is had on there, if it has any water tests, and if it does any results. And sometimes it shows pictures as well and any improvements that's done. So go to the site, findaspring.org, play around with the site, and you can actually see a lot of information too. So this is an actual valuable option in extended emergencies if you can get to the spring. So look at the site, see what springs are around your home, the closest, how long it will take for you to get there. That way you'll have it just as knowledge, something you can use. So in conclusion, the smartest approach to water preparedness includes storing the potable water, having a filtration method, a backup collection method, and knowledge of local natural sources, and be aware of any hidden household water sources. Water planning is layered. It's not single source. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. So preparedness isn't about panic. It's just calm planning. And the water is the foundation. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And remember, this is the Modest Prepper reminding you to take care, stay grateful, and prep with intention.